Okay, hey everybody, episode 30 of the podcast. And today's just about E3. I don't expect we'll be talking about anything else but E3 unless I completely missed something from our doc. So,
Google 5.
or we can skip that Google ad that I was just about to get hit with. So, let's do a very fast introduction and then let's just go right into E3. What do you think of that, Spoon?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good. All right. So, for the introduction, let's go over a couple things. And those couple things have to do with YouTube and Twitter. And then I'm just going to quickly shout out the giveaway winner. Very fast shout out. Okay, so here's our YouTube. Every week I talk about this during the introduction, but I figured maybe we should do some more diving into it because there's a couple new videos up. So during E3, there was a game that was teased called Koromon. There's no other way to put it. It is just a different take on Pokemon. You catch monsters in the wild and raise them, and you battle. There's some exploration, obviously, involved. Very fun little game. I love the pixelated art style, and my 2-hour first look into the demo, which was on Steam, is currently on the YouTube. I broke it up into 2-hour-long videos. If you're curious about the game, I would highly recommend checking those out. I go through the very start of the game. It shows off how the battles work, how the system for moves works. Just to give a brief description of how the moves work is, all your moves share a pool of SP points. I would imagine it's just like special points is what the SP stands for. All the moves share this pool. So if my little guy has like 20 SP, then all 4 of my moves have a specific cost, and they share that pool.
Isn't that similar to what Temtem did?
Temtem did something a little bit similar, yeah. Temtem had some other stuff with stamina and things like that, where if you use up all your stamina at a given point, then you basically take a turn off, I think is how it worked initially. I don't know if they've changed that, but that was the basic combat style outside of everything else that was similar to Pokemon. But this little game, I love the art style of it. It's using a pixelated art style, which is really nice. And I think it's a very simple game. And there's some other things that I liked about it. So those videos are up on YouTube as well as everything else involving Mass Effect, podcast episodes, Tales of Berseria playthroughs, and in the future, when we actually dive into Scarlet Nexus next week, all that stuff will go up. So please be sure to check it out. And yeah, that's the YouTube side of it. Also check out our Twitter. We tweet about when videos go up. We tweet about when the podcast goes up. And everything in between. And then final note is actually officially today I was able to give out the giveaway reward, which was a $10 Steam gift card. So congratulations to Asher, who won the $10 gift card. Hooray. Good job. Next week, I will talk with Spoon, and we'll do a little bit of a dive into some of the things that the people that did do that giveaway and answer the questions appropriately had mentioned, and we'll have a conversation about it next week and talk about how we feel about things moving forward. So that's about it for the intro deep dive from my perspective. Spoon, I imagine you'll probably want to touch on the anime stuff.
Oh yeah. So with E3 and all that last week, and also just me being, I don't know, lazy and forgetting, we didn't watch last week, but hopefully we can watch this weekend and get 2 episodes in. Though we usually watch on Sunday, and Sunday is Father's Day, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that could
I
be
don't
tough.
know.
Could be tough. We'll see. We'll see. We could always switch to a different day, like Saturday or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we can try to switch to a different day maybe.
But
We'll see.
two episodes is the plan. I would imagine 2 episodes because
2 episodes
we're currently
would be
an
the plan
episode
since
behind.
we're one behind.
Yep. Cool. And then as an additional note, I I'd forgotten to mention it, but somehow talking about the anime watching got me into the thought of it. D&D is this Friday. We're going to be doing a D&D session this Friday, and details of that as far as what the players are doing will be shared during the session. I am not sharing any details, not because I haven't planned for it, but because, frankly speaking, I don't want to share it right now. We'll wait for the actual session day for me to come on early and share things. So D&D this Friday, same time would be around 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So let's
Yep.
I think let's dive into E3 now. I think we
Sounds
dive
good.
into E3. Oh no, we're not discussing that. Whatever Tricourage just said in chat, go ahead and ignore it. He's a liar, and he's trying
No,
to
yeah,
put slander my name.
we're gonna talk about this for a second.
He's slandering my
So
name.
you spent
Oh
money on a
boy.
Fortnite skin. What skin did you buy?
It was a Harley Quinn skin. Okay, I like Harley Quinn.
Hmm.
I'm a sucker for Harley Quinn. Okay, there was a Harley Quinn skin in the game, and I'm a sucker for it. So
You're turning to the dark
I
side.
am. It's horrifying. I told Bree, I'm like, what have you done to me? I'm enjoying this game. What have you actually done to me? It's actually insane what happened. Because I'm like starting to enjoy the game, and it's a weird feeling. But yes, I spent $8 for the skin. I spent $8. That was the price tag on that particular skin. So it's a good one though. It's a nice Harley Quinn skin, and
That's not that horrible.
it wasn't
It's
that
not.
horrible, but still, yes, I didn't
It's not.
expect I
It's
would
not.
be.
It's not Genshin's $25 nonsense.
Oh yeah, the $28 jean skin. No, it's not that. It's not that. So anyway, that was what happened yesterday. Is after we played, we usually do Tuesday night Fortnights. After we played, I ended up getting it because again, the skin was nice. I like the skin. So, and I again, I'm a sucker for Harley Quinn. I have a statue. I have a statue of good old Harley, which I'm really depressed about this, by the way, because somehow the hair broke. It's
Oh
really
yeah, I see.
depressing. The hair broke. So I was really sad about that. But yeah, no, I love Harley Quinn. She's great. So okay, but back to E3 business. Let me move back here for this. So I think the best course of action is based on our doc. I think you put these in chronological order of E3. So let's go down the chronological order. And I personally, as a full disclosure, I'm going to be as optimistic as possible about everybody's E3 show. That means I would like to see I'm going to try and step into the shoes of every fan of various different genres and try and feel excited for them. So that is my take. I'm going to try and be nice today, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know how you're going to be, Spoon, but I'm going to try and be nice. So
I mean, I'm gonna be nice in some cases, and I'm not gonna be very nice in other
sure.
cases.
And that's completely understandable. The general sentiment of this E3 was it was disappointing, is
Yep,
what I'm
I
thinking
would, I
when
would
I
agree
saw
with
this.
that.
Okay.
That was the general sentiment among the community. That
Right.
especially up until Nintendo, it was a big letdown, and then Nintendo kind of brought it back a little bit.
Sure. So we're not going to show the doc, but there are some funny comments from Spoon and myself. Mostly Spoon, though. I think Spoon, you updated this doc far better than I did. Spoon was extremely responsible, and I was not in regards to this doc. So
I took notes during every
you
conference
did.
except I started during the Future Game Show, and I was just so bored that I
And that's
stopped. I just didn't
completely
care.
understandable. Completely understandable. Let's start with Ubisoft. Well, let's dive through some things that the games we can't name every game in certain shows because like honestly for the PC gaming showcase and the future game show I can't.
Yeah, there's too many. Yeah.
There's too
So
many.
some of these, there's just like too many games, and there's like things that were very short, or like we just don't really know anything about them. And okay, yeah.
So yeah, of course. So Ubisoft talked about a new Rainbow Six title called Rainbow Six Extraction. It is Rainbow Six Siege game mechanics. For those of you that know how Rainbow Six Siege plays, if you don't know or
And it
anything like that,
uses the operators or the classes
correct,
from R6 Siege.
correct. Um, it's PVE though, so you and a group kill zombies. Now,
Yep.
I will be optimistic and say that after a conversation with Hectic in particular, who was one of the Rainbow Six folks who used to stream onto the channel every week, Hectic thought it was interesting as a Rainbow Six player. He thought having some kind of PvE mode with some friends might be interesting. Optimistically speaking, if you're a Rainbow Six fan and you want something more akin to a tactical Left 4 Dead styled game, you might be happy about this.
Yeah.
I think the personal sentiment can be said best, though, and yours as well. I think I don't remember if you or I said this, to be honest, but the the bullet under it says I almost fell asleep during this.
That was
So
you.
that was me. Yep, that's probably true. Then at the time, I was extremely bored, but I can see how some Rainbow Six folks who are used to the style of play of Rainbow Six Siege and like it might enjoy a zombies game. I could see it. That doesn't mean I think it's a good idea, but I could see it. Um, I'm going to keep going down the list. Rocksmith, which is a music learning game. I don't know if you or I commented because I have a very short memory, but I thought it looked cool. I thought it was a good idea as a game. A music learning game. I thought it worked pretty well. So I liked that. We've already seen Riders Republic. They showed that more. It's extreme sports, open world MMO, whatever. Um, I think I commented that the 20 people that play it will really like it at the time. But again, if you like extreme sports games, then this could be really cool. Um, Rainbow Six Siege crossplay with Stadia. And I think you put the lull there. Very
Yep.
appropriate.
That was me.
There's crossplay with
But also console.
Stadia. Oh, with console, yeah.
Yeah.
Console better not crossplay with PC. That would be terrible. I hope they're smart enough not to do that.
That's what it sounded like.
Oh,
That it
that's a
was gonna
terrible
crossplay.
decision. That's a terrible decision. For Honor, okay. Breakpoint? Oh yeah, we had like a couple seconds of Breakpoint in there. That was something. Just Dance 2022, which is a popular franchise. Assassin's Creed Valhalla Siege of Paris DLC. And there was something that was like I think it was supposed to be more of if you wanted to dive into Viking history, but I think you just put it as Elder Scrolls in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
what it looked like to me.
if you don't know what Elder Scrolls is, it is a variation of a Skyrim playthrough where you play as an NPC. And that is one point in time where the Spoon lost respect for me. There's a couple instances, and that was one of them. They also talked about heaven help us all. Why? But a movie. What was the movie called?
Oh
Werewolf.
yeah.
Werewolf.
I don't even. It was a werewolf thing. I don't remember what it
Yeah,
was called.
something like that. And their TV show. They have like a game development TV show that's supposed to be like a comedy show on Apple Plus. So Apple TV Plus or something like that. But they showed that for a while, which was surprising. Far Cry 6, they showed Far Cry 6. I have a comment for Far Cry 6. I don't know why they gave the actor that's the villain in Far Cry 6 is a really good actor. Excellent actor. And he plays a excellent calculating villain. And for some reason, they gave like weird direction for this guy to act like try and be humorous, and that's not really how this guy like that's not really his best acting quality. So kind of a weird direction. They like try to make him a little like funny and laugh and stuff. That's not how it works with this guy. It felt off for me at least. And then I think you commented here that the character models didn't look great.
At least at first, like the first scene they showed, they
Mm-hmm.
just looked really stiff. They looked really stiff to me. Like the
Sure,
animations, like just weren't good, and they looked kind of like yeah, just stiff. They
sure,
didn't look natural. Like further on in the trailer, I think it looked better, but I don't
sure,
know. That was just my initial impression when we started watching that trailer. It's like, yeah, these characters and models look really stiff.
sure. I can understand that. Uh, there was also a Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope game that was I believe this is the first time we've heard of it. So this was a debut trailer for the game. Mario and Rabbids, the first game,
Yeah, Kingdom Battle.
had a good reception. It was a good game, and I was happy to see a sequel. And hopefully, I wish only the best for that game because the first game was really great. It was a great game. And then finally, inexplicably, I have things to say about this, by the way. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. There was a trailer for it. And my only comment is timing. This is the oddest timing I think I've seen on a game in
Yeah,
a while.
that movie came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, more than that, right? Because it was like
I mean, apparent.
2007 or 6. I don't
No, it was
know.
while we were in. It was while we were in college. It was like 10 or 11, I think. Like,
Really? Oh
yeah,
man, I thought it was earlier than that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. 10 years or more. Um, I also got to be honest. Who's asking for this?
nobody.
Okay, so they spent the end of this presentation on this game. I don't know what kind of game it is. You're saying
Yeah,
rumor is it's an
yeah.
MMO?
I heard someone say that they think it's an MMO, but that okay, that's a
I don't
guess.
I don't
We
know.
don't know. It
I
could be.
I anyway,
I mean, apparently, they've been working on sequels to Avatar for million years since the first one came out. But it's like, okay, if they never come out, it doesn't like
it
James
doesn't
Cameron
matter.
takes 20 years to make a movie, so whatever.
The first Avatar, I think part of the reason they delayed it was because the technology wasn't there yet. They were waiting on certain technology, and the movie itself visually was looked great.
Yeah, it was stunning.
So, but like, I don't know what the wait is now at this point for those movies. But this game, I don't get this. I really don't get this. This was a weird one for me. They definitely tried to put this at the end to get as much excitement as possible. They're like, okay, we're gonna build the excitement, and the crescendo is gonna be this Avatar game. And I think the sentiment, not just for me, but from everybody, was like, okay, but okay. So that was the Ubisoft conference. That was it. Um, Now Spoon, I don't know if you were excited about any of it, but was there something in there that at least piqued your interest? Was there
Far,
something in there
far,
that was positive? Is what I'm trying
I
to
don't
say.
I don't really play Far Cry, but like Far Cry 6 looks, it looks like more Far Cry. I'm sure that's gonna be good. I like the villain seems like interesting, and I think like that looks good as far as
Sure,
again. I probably won't play it, but I wouldn't tell you that that game looks bad. Other than
sure,
obviously, I said the animations at least at one point looked a little stiff, but
sure,
I'm sure Far Cry 6 will be good. Um, Mario and Rabbids as well was a cool announcement. Good to see that they're making a sequel to that game. I played the first one a little bit. I didn't beat it, but yeah, it was a cool game.
yeah,
Like I see why people liked it.
hmm
Um, I don't remember why I stopped. It wasn't because I didn't like it or anything. I don't know. Didn't maybe it didn't quite hook me, but like it wasn't bad.
yeah,
So,
sure. Uh,
um,
yeah, I agree with you. Both those games, actually, I agree with you. I enjoyed Far Cry 5, so Far Cry 6, I'm interested in, obviously. And the Mario Rabbids game was a nice surprise, so I was very happy about that. Everything else, though, I can confidently say I had no interest in.
yeah, I mean, well, the Rainbow Six Extraction again. I have no interest in it personally, but I can see Rainbow Six players like being interested
Hmm.
in it. So
Sure,
I'll put that positive spin on that one too. But yeah, maybe it'll be too slow and too boring. Like who knows? But yeah, it was very
sure,
slow and tactical. But if that's if you like that, which is part of Rainbow Six, then I mean, yeah, PVE Rainbow Six. I think for people who are into that game and play that game, I think it's a decent idea.
sure.
So um,
No,
yeah,
I'm with you. I agree. I think
yeah.
there's a fan base that would like this. So I agree with you. That was also
I
something.
mean,
It's yeah. Go ahead.
most of the things in this conference were like, okay, for the audience, this looks decent. Like the music game, the Rocksmith, the music game.
Hmm.
If you want that, it's cool. The um Riders Republic for the people who like extreme sports games. It's probably be good.
Yep.
Um, I don't really know the track record of like Ubi. They generally come out with one of these extreme sports games like every couple of years. So
They got to do well enough where
um,
they're at least turning some profit.
yeah. Um. So yeah, I mean, the movie and TV part was boring. Um. The I don't care about Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC again for people who liked that game. Sure. Just Dance again. I'm sure people like that game. It's not on my radar.
Sure.
Um. Yeah, and then the Avatar was the one thing where it was like, okay, I don't. This is kind of a dumb announcement. Like
Yeah, I didn't get that.
this.
That one I didn't get. So at the very bottom of the doc, we had our grades for each respective conference, and for Ubisoft, you gave this a C, and I gave
Yep.
this a B minus. So I'll just quickly defend the B minus. I think I agree with basically everything you just said there. For certain audiences, this conference worked. If you're somebody who's a fan of Far Cry, you got more Far Cry. If you're a Rainbow Six Siege fan, you got not only Rainbow Six Siege, but this extraction game mode, which is somewhat, I don't want to say complimentary, but it'll probably pique your interest too. And there's some extreme sports for that group. And the only reason that I gave it a B minus is because I can see how certain groups would perceive specific games in this sequence like Just Dance. Like, we're not fans of Just Dance, but there's some folks that are. So, positively speaking, the Rocksmith game, also the music learning game, that's a great thing for different audiences that we're just not in. So, B minus, I think, was, hey, some of this stuff just didn't get it. Like Avatar, I didn't get Avatar at all. But
Yeah.
I could see some of this other stuff working for certain people. I gave it that grade and not anything higher because the Ubisoft film and TV thing is I think it's dumb for E3. I think it's dumb to have that. And Avatar. That's the main reasons why I didn't give this any higher. The Mario game, Far Cry, and I do think the Rocksmith and Rainbow Six Extraction kind of bumped this up to a B minus for me.
Yeah,
Everything else
maybe
was
now
just
that I
not
think
there.
about it, I don't think I'd go up to a B minus, but
Sure.
maybe I'd give it a C plus because, yeah, I think for certain audiences, like this stuff is good, but like for me, it like didn't do it. It
Oh,
was
of course.
boring. For me, it was boring for the
Yeah.
most part. I didn't care about most of their announcements. I think the thing that like takes this away from a B to a C for me is there wasn't anything that surprising in this. Like, okay, the Rainbow Six Extraction was a new thing, but it was
Mm-hmm.
still just more Rainbow Six, so it wasn't like that big a deal.
Sure.
Mario and Rabbids was cool, but it's still a sequel. Like, it's nothing new. It's
Sure.
cool that that is getting a sequel. Their one like big surprise, which would have been the Avatar thing that nobody knew about. Yeah,
That
that
flopped.
was a flop. Like, I don't care about that. It seemed
Mhm.
like most people didn't care about that, and so yeah, that was their one like really big surprise for the conference, and it flopped pretty hard.
Sure.
So I don't think I can reasonably give this a C, B in the B range. So this is a C or a C plus for me. I originally had it as a C, but maybe I can say it's
Okay.
a C plus for somebody who's more interested in this stuff. For me, though,
Sure. And I am curious, by the way, for those of you that are hanging around, feel free to give your grades as well. I'd be curious personally to see how people felt about it, and you can give your biased or unbiased review of it.
yeah. Again, for me, this was just a very like C for me is like it was a very mediocre
Yeah, sure.
conference. Like it was fine.
I could
But
see that.
there was literally nothing special about it for
The
me.
Ubisoft conference, I think, generally was not perceived highly, so I think that's a C is fine. I don't think anything past a B is reasonable. Is out of there. Like, if somebody gave this a B plus or higher, though, I kind of question their thought process of why they gave it that. Okay, let's move on. So next in line, according to our doc, is the Microsoft Bethesda conference, which was a pretty long conference.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half.
Yep. So the highlights from this particular conference, well, there are tons of games here, but let's just go through some of the highlights because we're probably not going to be able to go through every game. There was a lot. So Starfield didn't get a gameplay show. They got a little trailer.
Cinematic.
Yeah, they got a
trailer.
cinematic trailer. So no graphics were shown. Not much story was shown, if I'm being honest, in my opinion.
And a release date that's 17 months away.
And a 17-month release date. Yeah. So that happened. I will say I was disappointed, but let's continue. The first thing actually that was shown was a Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl game. There was some gameplay. There was like some story, I guess. Post-apocalyptic FPS was what you put in here, which is 100% correct, I feel. Before I go any further, it's important to note that all but 3 games in their entire conference are day 1 Game Pass or going to be on Game Pass. So sort of take that into consideration.
Yeah, and I think the 3 that aren't on Game Pass were Battlefield, Diablo,
Yup.
and maybe Far Cry. Far Cry 6
Yeah, because
show.
Ubisoft doesn't do that. Ubisoft does their own weird stuff.
Yeah, I think it's
Ubisoft's
those
weird.
3.
Yeah. So yeah, the Heart of Chernobyl game, FPS game. I won't say if it looks bad or not. I mean, it's post-apocalyptic apocalyptic FPS game. I mean, it looks fine. Back for Blood. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
This is different. I'm just responding to Michael in the chat. This is different from Chernobylite. It's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. There were like over E3. There was like 3. There was at least 2, if not 3.
There were 3,
like
I think.
Chernobyl games. I'm like, okay, I guess we're all doing the Chernobyl post-apocalyptic shooter right now.
I don't know. I guess
know.
it's just
This was
easy.
one of them.
I don't know.
Chernobylite was something different. That was
Yeah.
in like either the PC gaming show or the Future Game show. I don't know.
Yeah. Back for Blood. I mean, I'm just gonna say Left 4 Dead sequel.
Yep.
The new Left 4 Dead.
It's gonna be on Game Pass though.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Game Pass, which is great. That's actually great. I can just, I guess, just play it on my Xbox if I want. Though I imagine anybody else who plays it with me will probably be on like Steam or something. So I doubt there'll be. I don't know if there'll be like some kind of cross play for that, but I doubt it if it's on Steam. There, it would have to be like through Microsoft Store if there was a crossplay. Contraband, I totally forgot about this one, to be honest.
It was a teaser. They showed literally nothing. Like just like it was a teaser with a title, and they said it's like co-op open world, and like that was it. So
okay, Game Pass game. Okay, I want to talk about this Sea of Thieves: A Pirate's Life. I've never been particularly interested in Sea and Thieves, but this somehow got me interested in Sea of Thieves for a moment. So it's the Pirates of the Caribbean partnership with Sea of Thieves. They got Disney to work with them. It's a match made in heaven. I think it's great. This was a big thing. I think this was one of the highlights of this particular conference, at least for me. If you're a fan of Sea of Thieves, this is gold for you. This is awesome.
Jackpot! You got Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones in the game, and the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover.
Yeah, this was a highlight for sure. Yakuza series, all games including Yakuza Like a Dragon are going on Game Pass, and I can tell you right now, Yakuza Like a Dragon is already there because I saw it. Battlefield 2042 got a trailer. Again, there's one thing I want to say about this trailer. The map, the storm map, looked cool. That was all I wanted to say. I thought the map itself was cool with the storm and the like massive tornado going through the map. I thought that was like a cool aesthetic thing with that. So that was cool. I won't say that put me like really interested in the game or anything, but it was cool. It was a cool map design. 12 minutes. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it, to be honest, but that was one of them. Psychonauts 2.
People are excited for this.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2.
First one's kind of a cult classic on the original Xbox, so
I'm gonna ignore the Bethesda games on Game Pass thing because the Fallout 76 thing was just like I don't know. Okay, the party animals thing was the weirdest game I think I saw the entire E3. That was weird. The whole time I was like, "What the hell is this?" I was so confused, but I could see it being a fun party game.
Yeah,
It could work. It could really work. Yeah, Gang Beasts 2.0. It could work. I thought it was really weird, but it could work for sure. Um, Hades on Game Pass, awesome. Um, let's see. I don't know what Somerville is actually. I don't know. I don't remember what that was.
I don't remember what that was
Yeah,
either. It sounds like it was a horror game, but I don't remember
yeah.
at all.
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and ignore like Diablo 2 remaster and stuff like that. Halo Infinite multiplayer gameplay trailer with a what looked like a story cinematic with Master Chief like floating through some kind of zero G type of environment, and then talking to not Cortana AI.
Not Cortana.
Not, I mean, it's like what else are you supposed to say? Not Cortana AI. Um, the multiplayer trailer looked great. I liked it. I thought they showed off everything they needed to. It was fun. It was kind of exciting to watch. So I really liked it. We knew about the grapple hook already, but the grapple hook being used to hijack vehicles was cool. So
You could like pick up stuff with it too. Like I could see them like
mhm,
grapple hooking weapons and picking
mhm.
them up as well.
Yeah, it looked great. No, I thought it looked great. I liked it a lot. So, and again, they talked about how the multiplayer is free and the campaign is going to be what you pay for, which isn't a bad thing. I've heard some things about the Halo multiplayer battle pass, though. I wish I had followed up on that before this, but there's already been some conversation about the Halo battle pass.
Yeah, I heard something that they announced that they're gonna have like, a battle pass, a season pass, not a season, but like a battle pass for every season or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how long the periods are gonna be, but they won't expire after the season's over, basically. So you can keep earning those rewards like
Oh, sweet.
for as long. If you buy it, you have it forever and it doesn't expire after the
Oh,
season.
that's
You can
cool.
keep earning the stuff.
That's really
Yeah.
good. I like that. That's cool. Um, I'm gonna skip Far Cry 6 too. Okay, Slime Rancher 2. I know Kuru was excited about that one, but the sequel to Slime Rancher. And I'm just gonna skip ahead on some of this other stuff. Oh, the Ayuden Chronicle game. There was one Weeb game, so you got your Weeb
Yep.
fix.
Uden Chronicle.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, which is gonna be on Game Pass. Nice
Yep.
bonus. Age of Empires 4. Outer Worlds 2, the highlight of the entire E3 for me. The Outer Worlds 2 trailer
Such
was
a meme trailer.
by far the best thing of the entire E3 for me. Um,
I wouldn't say that, but it was funny. Well, I
oh, it
wouldn't say
was,
that for
oh my
me, but
god,
it
it was
was really
great.
funny. It
I
was a good
loved it.
game.
I loved every second of it. It was perfect. And then Bethesda's new IP, Redfall,
And
which
Forza they spent a long time on.
they did, and Forza. Yeah, I mean Forza for racing folks. It looked great if you're a racing fan, and the graphics look phenomenal. So there's some other stuff in there that I personally glossed over, but Spoon, you're welcome to highlight some things. I mean, Flight Simulator and things like that. So, is there anything in here, Spoon? What things piqued your interest in this particular conference, if anything?
Um, yeah, there's a few things I want to talk about here.
Sure,
First, not necessarily piquing my interest, but I want to talk about Starfield
go ahead.
because, I mean, I guess people were hyped to see the release date, and I don't know. We watched some of the post show on that. And we are like, "Oh my god, Starfield!" And I'm like, that trailer was a nothing burger. They
Yeah, it was
showed
nothing.
nothing.
It was nothing.
It was a cinematic trailer. It was like a minute, maybe it was 2 minutes,
Yeah, something
and
like that.
it's just like, okay, it's coming out in at the end of 2022, but we literally know nothing. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be just a sci-fi Bethesda RPG. I'm sure it's going to be similar to like Fallout or Elder Scrolls with
Yep.
just like what basically was sci-fi. But other than that, we've saw no gameplay. We literally know nothing about the game still from that trailer. Like that trailer showed us literally nothing. So that one for me is actually a huge letdown. I was hoping to see at least like a little bit of the actual game
Hmm.
as opposed to just this cinematic trailer.
Sure.
Because so yeah, Starfield for me,
Yeah,
no
no,
good.
I was underwhelmed as well. I wish I'd seen any gameplay. or I wish I'd seen in-game graphics being shown off.
Yeah,
One of the things that Bethesda has to show is that they've updated their engine or done something
yeah,
different.
that's true. Yeah, because their engine is really outdated
They're
at this point.
Yeah, it's extremely outdated. I mean, Fallout 76 looks bad by comparison to nowadays. So they need to show something involving any sort of graphics, the engine, or gameplay soon. In my opinion, they need to do it within 6 months. Otherwise, I don't, I don't know what's up. So I was also disappointed. But the release date, it's good to get a release date. So also as a side thing, they did confirm Xbox exclusivity. I should say Microsoft exclusivity because Microsoft on
Yeah,
PC is a thing.
PC and Xbox.
Yeah. So and it will be on Game Pass, which is a huge deal. I mean, I think we could have assumed that, but it's a huge deal that this game, when it comes out, it's just immediately on Game Pass. So, sorry, go ahead. You other stuff. Sorry.
Um, I wasn't a huge Left 4 Dead fan. I kind of thought the controls were clunky in the original Left 4 Dead, but
Mm-hmm.
Back 4 Blood might be better, so I'm marginally interested
Mm-hmm.
in it. In it at least.
Sure.
I mean, it's a fun co. It's be fun co-op at least.
Yeah.
Um, Yakuza on Game Pass is really cool. I haven't played those games yet. I did buy a couple of them on the last Steam sale, but haven't gotten around to them yet. But I've heard great things about the series in general, so that's a big win. Um, Yeah, Halo multiplayer being free. I think we knew about that already. I
Yep.
think they announced that last year actually, but maybe people forgot about it, so they just reiterated it.
Yeah. Of course.
And yeah, I think the multiplayer looks good. And I know they did some more stuff this week on it, like they were doing some more deep dives with the developers and stuff. I haven't been able to watch any of that yet, but I may look at it eventually. But Halo, at least the multiplayer is looking cool. It looks like Halo, they've put few more tweaks on it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
Um, Eiyuden Chronicle looks cool from what we've seen, but that's still a ways off. Um, Age of Empires 4, cool to see. They're still supporting RTS
Yeah.
because that is
Really
like
cool to see.
almost nearly a dead genre at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and though we didn't see any gameplay of it, and it was quite a long trailer, Redfall maybe could be interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Redfall. I thought it was going to be more like Left 4 Dead, but it
It looks
might.
kind of like Left 4 Dead, but with zombies and like
Yeah, and
like magic
vampires.
powers and stuff. Like,
I don't know. I thought it would be, but we'll see what the actual genre it gets plugged into is. But it looked like a Left 4 Dead type of game, which isn't it's not a bad thing. Um, and assume that's going to be on Game Pass, and I think they did say it would be exclusive to Xbox. So another thing to mention there. So okay, let's give grades. Okay, you gave Microsoft Bethesda a B. I gave it an A. I thought this was, with Nintendo, the best conference. I thought it was just, compared to all the others besides Nintendo, I thought it just blew them all away. It was better. The other thing that they didn't show during the conference, though maybe they did, I didn't see it, was that they are releasing an Xbox fridge. They're releasing a fridge.
mhm.
So the grade, I gave this a grade of an A because there are certain genres they didn't hit. I was disappointed, in fact, that I didn't see any Scarlet Nexus this entire thing. I was really disappointed because I was hoping either Bandai Namco, which we'll talk about later, or Microsoft, because Microsoft has been pushing it really hard to talk about it. This was the only disappointing thing for me about that Xbox part, was Scarlet Nexus didn't get any love, which I was sad about. But they hit a couple things that they had to. They hit all their objectives. Number one, Game Pass is extremely valuable for the next 2 years. It's extremely valuable. This is by far the biggest value in the for anything in the industry. It just like value bumped up. So for them, that's great. Um, I mean, there's a lot of FPS games in here, so if you like FPS games, there you go. But The other thing they showed Halo gameplay, they showed Halo multiplayer. It looked great, so that's what I wanted to see too. There were a couple things that I was that I thought were nice little bonuses to see from here. The Ayuden Chronicle was actually, I was surprised that they're gonna throw that on Game Pass. The trailers from Obsidian were great. I wish I had seen something for Avowed, which was the
Yeah.
Skyrim type game from Obsidian, but um, maybe we'll see it later. There were new games that were shown. I mean, Redfall is a new game. Maybe it's like Left 4 Dead. We don't know. The Sea of Thieves thing was unbelievable. What Microsoft did was they basically showed that, okay, over 2 years, they did exactly what you should do in E3. Talk about the stuff coming out in the next 2 years, bring out some excitement in all of your games, highlight some Bethesda stuff, which is what they had to do, talk about Game Pass,
Yep. Show them
and
that Game Pass is still the best deal in the business and continues to be.
just, yeah, just make people excited about the next year to 2 years. And I think they did that. I'm excited. Halo looks great. I'm disappointed with Starfield, but Halo looks great. Back for Blood. Good to see it's going to be on Game Pass. Great. I'm not a Sea of Thieves player, but that was awesome. That was awesome. And I'm not even a fan of that game. I'm I'm totally on board. This was excellent. Considering E3 this year was really poor, this was excellent. So I gave it an A.
Yeah, for me, I gave it a B. Again, I can see bumping that to a B plus possibly. Um, but for me, as kind of Ghost is saying in the chat, the variety wasn't quite there. It was a lot of FPS, a lot of FPS. Also, the surprises weren't there for me in this conference. There were no big surprises. I guess Redfall was the one, but it's not one that I particularly cared about too
Mm-hmm.
much. Yakuza on Game Pass, I guess, was cool, but that's not a new game. That's just
Yeah, that's
games
not new.
going on. There were like no new game big surprises in this conference. It was like their surprises were just like sequels for the most part, or yeah, I mean, just nothing big in the surprise category, at least that I was interested in this conference. Starfield was a huge letdown. I was hoping to see actually something from that game, and we got a big old nothing burger. Um, and yeah, there's just like not too many games from this conference that I'm actually interested in. Like, Yakuza series, Starfield, maybe. Back for Blood, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Infinite, yes. Um, Redfall, maybe. Outer Worlds, maybe. Eowyn Chronicle, definitely. Age of Empires 4, maybe as well. So a lot of like, maybe this looks kind of cool, but I'm not sure if I'll actually play it. And yeah, just not a lot of variety. Again, I think I mean, I don't have any other conference in the B range in this, and for me, Nintendo, like we'll get to it later, but for me, Nintendo was significantly better. So this is
Oh,
this is a B.
I hard
Uh,
disagree with that, but that's okay. I hard disagree that it was significantly better, but that's okay. And as far I think this had good variety. I actually think it did. It had FPS games, which was a chunk here, but there were some RPGs down here. There were some indie games they showed, RTS. And I thought it had good variety, but I don't know if I'd say this was significantly better than Nintendo. That I think is a stretch, but it is your opinion, and you're allowed to have
may,
it.
maybe not significantly, but Nintendo was better in my
Okay,
by
and
enough
sure.
for me. It was they're not this for me. They're not the same level. Like okay, Xbox is here, and Nintendo is like up here. It's not this, but it's like Nintendo was definitely better for me than
Okay,
Microsoft.
yeah. Like I said, it's your opinion. I just was like, wow, significantly better. That was surprising. So okay, let's. Oh boy. Okay. Um, I I have to say that of my of all the shows, Bandai Namco we'll talk about later. I was most disappointed in Square. I was extremely disappointed in Square actually. I think Square just they I don't know what happened, but
I
this
don't
is
I
like
don't I don't think they should have had a
I
conference. To be
I think they
honest,
should have just skipped it. Yeah, I think they should just put Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere else.
yeah, they should have put the few games they wanted to show in other conferences. I mean, they did a little bit. Like we saw Life is Strange a little bit in something else. We saw Guardians, I think, for a split second in Nintendo as well. Yeah, they just did not have enough
Hmm.
in this E3 to have their own conference. In my opinion, this was like a
Yeah,
waste of this was mostly a waste of time.
I agree with you 100%. I think they should have thrown Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere else. I think they should have just skipped out on talking about some of their mobile games. And Babylon's Fall looked just. We'll talk about that. Life is Strange. I'm. There was something in Life is Strange that I liked, and I think we talked about it, which was the idea of tapping into the power to like go into a person's world. That was
Like
kind of interesting. Yeah.
world or whatever.
Cool. I like that. Um, and then FF Origins. Yeah, FF Origins. I'm sorry. FF Origins, if you're going to talk about a game and then throw out a demo and have the demo be absolutely corrupted day one, you screwed up. They fixed it, but you screwed up. So, okay. I'll be quick on this one, and then I'll let you touch on your things. I got to be perfectly honest about the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I feel like I'm being a hater for a second here. I did say I was going to be optimistic, but I have to say it. The first when they showed the first look gameplay, not anything else, but when they showed the first look gameplay for Guardians of the Galaxy, it was like 10 minutes of it, roughly, maybe less. So I watched it again today before this because I wanted to, because I don't know why, but people were like, "Oh, it was so funny! It was a funny thing." I was like, when I watched it, I think it was funny at all. I thought it was like one of the least funny Guardians of the Galaxy things I had ever seen, and I'm not changing my opinion on it. It wasn't funny at all. I there was like no humor for me in there, and I think part of it was I don't think they understand why the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, just as an example, because I haven't really followed the comics too heavily, was funny. It was that it wasn't just all like silly sarcastic humor. Like the characters themselves, like I like Drax a lot. I don't know how you feel about it, Spoon, but like Drax is funny because everything he takes is literal. So it's like he's not being sarcastic when he says nothing gets over my head, I would catch it. Too fast, I would catch it. Like it's funny because of the way the character is. So when he takes something like that literally, you're like, oh, okay, like within the context of the character, it's funny.
Wisdom stat -4.
Exactly. It's funny. And you're like, okay, that's not even like sarcasm. That's how the character would perceive that situation and respond. Like that's why it's funny, is a lot of those characters like respond in their own way. So it's like it's funny. And in this case, but also they don't just say jokes every 10 seconds. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 tried to do that and it was a little too much. But in this game, like the first couple minutes, they're just like saying jokes all over the place and they're bantering all the time. And I'm like, can I get like a break? This is too much banter. I'm not even over the first joke. They used a 69 joke in there, by the way. They used a 69 joke. They were like, we need 69 60-something credits to pay this off. And I was like, okay, that's clearly some kind of joke in there. So I just didn't think it was funny. I thought the writing was not great. I was a little surprised at the writing. There was also a sequence in there, and I think part of it is the way that this game is set up and written. If you don't know, like in the context of the game, they show it too. Like Star-Lord has like hover boots, okay? But he can also kind of like maneuver with them and fly around. And I think if you've seen the movies, you saw that as well. So they get to this chasm, and it's not that big of a chasm. It's really not. It appears to be like maybe 10 feet.
Yeah, 10 to 15, 20
yeah,
maybe.
And there's a bridge. You're like, oh, we gotta get. How are we gonna get across this bridge? And I'm the whole time thinking, this guy's got boots. This fucker's got boots. He can just fly over. This guy's got boots. So they throw the raccoon. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny, but this makes no sense. Because he could just fly over there. Also, they have Groot. Groot's a plant. He can stretch. So it no longer became funny for me. It became stupid. It was just like a huge plot point. it was stupid. So the
I
whole
mean, it
time
was
I
like
was like,
it
oh,
was
okay,
any.
they threw the raccoon, but it was
I
just
mean,
stupid.
we didn't see what happened on the other side of the dialogue choice. Like there was the dialogue choice, like, "Hey, okay, throw a rocket," or there was the
Sure,
other dialogue choice was like, "Hey, don't throw a rocket." Maybe
maybe
on the
yeah,
other
maybe
side of the
yeah,
dialogue choice, you either use the rocket boots or Groot does something. I'm sure there's another solution to the problem on the other side of the
sure,
dialogue choice, which we
maybe.
don't know what it was. But they picked the "Hey, let's throw a rocket"
I'm
one.
just like, but the
Um,
whole time it's like, okay, it's funny, but me being a like a semi-intelligent human being knows that okay, well the plant can just stretch and he can fly, so it becomes less funny and more just like, okay, that was just stupid. Like they would have just like the immediate solution would have been just fly over. So I don't know. It would have been. I think in a different situation it would have been humorous, but for me it just felt like okay, that's just stupid now. So I thought it was I thought the gameplay itself, when they were in combat, looked pretty cool. It looked like what Marvel's Avengers probably should have been. But other than that, I honestly have no interest in that game. It looks like it's a game that thinks it's funny and it's just not. And I'm probably just gonna get annoyed. So I personally will pass on that. But I do think that it's good that Square shows games like this to show, hey, look, like we make Final Fantasy, but we also have the Marvel IP, so we can do other things as well. And like the gameplay of it in combat looked pretty good. So I will say that.
yeah, I
Everything
mean,
else, I mean, Babylon's Fall, I thought looked visually gross. Um, I hated the visuals of it. The FF Origin thing looked pretty cool if you're a Final Fantasy fan. Mashing it in with what looked like Dark Souls looked good.
I don't know if you necessarily need to be a Final Fantasy fan to like that
No,
game. I mean,
sure,
maybe yeah, because it's like
but if
the
you are, it's a
combat's like
bonus. It's a
yeah.
bonus for sure. I'm just gonna ignore mobile because I don't care about it. The Life is Strange, like going into the emotion worlds, look pretty cool. So that's all I'm gonna say for everything else.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I didn't go back and rewatch the Guardians demo with a fine-tooth comb like you did,
Oh, I did,
so
and I'm very harsh on it. So
but from what I remember from watching it the one time that I did, I thought the game looked, I think it looked pretty cool. Like,
mhm.
will I play it? Probably not, but again, I can see someone who likes the Guardians of the Galaxy liking this. I thought, again, maybe if I go back and watch it again, like you did, maybe I would see some of the issues. But on first inspection, when I watched it, I was like, the banter seemed cool. It seems like they did a good job with getting the banter between the Guardians
Mhm.
there. The combat looked pretty fun, where you can call in like assists from the
Yeah, that was
different
cool.
team members. Um, and like the dialogue choices and it looked like there was going to be some sort of like you know I don't know what to call it, like affinity system where the different members will like or dislike you based on like the choices you make,
Sure.
and maybe that'll affect you in combat or some of the things you're able to do in the
Yeah.
game. I'm not sure what that's going to affect, but there were dialogue choices and decisions you had to make, which affected your relationships with the different guardians. So I don't know, it seemed like it would be a cool Guardians of the Galaxy game. um, Again, obviously, you found some issues with it, especially in the writing and the dialogue that you didn't like very much,
I mean,
which is fair.
yeah. I didn't find it funny, but if you found it funny, I don't honestly. I'm not gonna
I
hold it
didn't find
against
it
you.
laugh out loud
Right.
funny, but I was like, okay, this is cute.
Sure.
It's like it's getting the feel of the Guardians from what I know of them. Again, I'm not a comic book reader, but from what I know from watching the two movies, the two Marvel movies on them, it seemed like it was a different take, but it was still getting the feel of the Guardians of the
Sure.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 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 No. No. No.
I
I
can
I'm
see
with you there.
people being excited and liking this game,
Yeah.
but on the negative side, um, the enemies, I know they just showed one area, but they fought were these like gelatinous cube
Yep.
enemies. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
obviously that was what they picked for the demo, but we would have liked to see a little more enemy variety than
They
that
they
because
did
it's
have
just
like
like
the big like what looked like four-legged beasts with like weird like mouths near one point. So like but still like okay, it's a cube. Let's move on. It's a cube.
and also it was just a bad sign when they spent the first 20 minutes of their 40 to 45-minute presentation on one game.
Yeah, that was definitely a bad
Yeah, we,
sign.
we like we got like halfway through the Guardians presentation. Like, man, they're spending a long time on this.
It
And then it
Is
went for
there?
another 10 minutes, and you're
Yeah,
like, man, they're spending a long time
yeah.
on this.
It is their big. I'm gonna say big upcoming game is I think
Yeah,
appropriate.
it's their closest release, and it's probably their big release for the fall, to be
Right.
honest, because nothing else is ready.
And this
Um,
they honestly they had nothing else, so they just said, okay, let's just spend 20 minutes on this, and
that and Life is Strange is their other
yeah,
thing
Life
that's
is Strange
coming
is the
out
other
in the
thing.
fall.
Which, yeah, I mean
Um,
it's yeah. Oh, go ahead, keep going.
yeah, you know, they had the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel remasters, so those who like the old school Final Fantasies and like that style might be interested in that,
Hmm.
but we don't really know anything about that. Legend of Mana is coming out. Again, that's kind of a, you know,
Small thing,
cool
but sure.
like remake of an older game.
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers Roadmap Omega Lol.
Who
Um,
cares? Keep going.
Mobile also Omega Lol.
Yeah. I guess their
And
Final
yeah,
Fantasy Brave Exvius, if I pronounced that
yeah,
correctly, is
yeah,
somewhat popular,
yeah.
but
It's their popular FF mobile game.
yeah.
Um, Now Babylon's Fall.
Oh
You said it
God.
already. This game, I don't remember when they announced it, but I want to say it was 3 or 4 years ago. And okay, Platinum was
Sure.
Square Enix. Platinum makes good combat. Generally, their games are fun. People like them. Bayonetta, Astral Chain. What was the other one? Near Automata. Yeah, generally people like their games.
Well
At least the combat.
received. Yeah, well received.
At least the combat in their games. And you know what? I kind of have almost no doubt that the combat in that game will be good. But man, seeing this game, I have no
Yeah.
interest in it now. I hate the art style. It just looks blurry. It
They
looks terrible. And when they showed combat, it looked even blurrier when it was like in motion. It was
yeah.
so blurry. I couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah. And they said the buzzword. They said the
Yeah.
buzzword. They
And
had
then
to
at the
say it.
and then at the end they threw in live. They're like,
Oh
"Oh, this is going to be a
God.
live service game." I'm like, "Nope, I'm out. Sorry.
Oh God. Like,
No, thank you."
just kill a game faster. Just say live service and kill your game. Like, here's like there's like a roadmap to pissing off people in the community. Say loot box or say live service, and you're gonna piss somebody off. Like,
And like
oh my God.
live service generally doesn't work, but I feel like it can work.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
Square Enix, the one live service game they've made is Marvel's Avengers, and that game was a dumpster
It's
fire.
bad.
So
It's really bad.
they don't have a good track record with their one live service game. And now we're gonna take a platinum game and turn it into a live service game. Yeah, I mean, they are gonna they have a lot of work to do to like turn me back on to that game. Because right now, that's gonna be a pass. That's gonna be a
The
pass from me.
that art style is not changing. We know that. That is
Oh
not
yeah,
changing.
they're not gonna redo the whole art
I
style because people didn't like it.
yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, I can't say I was super interested in the game, but I have now zero interest in the game after seeing it. I was just like, okay, no, this doesn't work. Um,
Yeah, Life is Strange looks cool for those of you who like Life is Strange. I haven't played them, but I've heard they're really good.
they're
I
good.
probably should play them at some point. I know Otto would like me to play them, and Megan's mentioned to me that's like one of her favorite games, so that I should play it. So maybe I'll get around to those at some
Hmm.
point. So yeah, remaster of Life is Strange, and then the new one, True Colors, looks pretty cool. I know some people are saying that the power looks lame in the new one, but I don't think it looks
I
that lame. I think it looks
yeah.
fine. Like, I don't know.
The initial look at the power, I will say I was not impressed by it, but the going into the person's like emotional world looks good. That's cool. I'm excited to see how that works. It's like I don't want to trigger anybody saying this, but it looks a little like a Somnium World to a certain extent. Not in like the actual look of it, but the idea of
Yeah.
like going into somebody's mind, or in this case, their emotions. It got a little bit of that for me. Can't say it's the exact same, but I was starting to catch some vibes of that, which is good. I like that stuff.
Yeah. So that looks pretty cool. And then and then the Stranger of Paradise Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy Origin, which again this game was like leaked beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But this was it was cool to see it. I know some people were kind of memeing on the character designs because the dude was like wearing a t-shirt.
I was like, why is he wearing
Uh,
a T-shirt? I, I just, I have to.
we don't know we don't know the context. Like
We
maybe they're
don't.
gonna be, maybe at the beginning you're just like gonna be a normal dude and you get like transported to this crazy freaking
That's
world.
true. That
Like it could be that.
that could very well be it, and I hope it's something like that. Um, your appearance changes based on your equipment. Again, yeah, sure. I don't know. It's weird going into a game that looks like that, that has that like fantasy feel to it, and seeing a dude with a T-shirt. I will admit it looks funny. So they should have probably done a more medieval style armor set or something like cool. The T-shirt threw me off. That I think I mentioned it to you while we were like watching it
Yeah.
as well. I was like, "What's with the T-shirt?" um, and the demo first day was not. It was corrupted. They had to
Yeah.
fix it, so
Yeah,
you
it
couldn't
didn't
play it.
work right off the bat,
Yep.
but they did fix it eventually. I haven't I don't have a PS5 so I can't play it. And I haven't really watched much of it. I saw a touch of it. I heard some people on Twitter saying that it was like they liked the idea, but there was a lot of jank with it. Like it's got a long way to go, and like this
Okay.
game's probably not going to come out until the end of next year, so they've got time to fix it. But apparently, it
Sure.
was kind of it was like cool, but kind of janky. So
Sure.
we'll see. It could be good. It could not. It could be bad, to
I
be
mean,
honest.
I hope for the best. I want them
Yeah,
to
game
branch
looks cool.
out. I want them to branch out. I like when they throw diversity in there. So I'm hoping for the best. They just need it to work and be a solid game. They don't have to make it perfect. It just needs to be solid and working. Then people will be excited for it. Okay. Um, Square, I actually gave them a B, and you gave them a C. I gave them a B because there are certain things that I knew that they had to show, like in the context of the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I don't like the humor. I'm not interested in the game, but I could see how a more casual Marvel fan would like something like this. I could see it. So I did think also that the Final Fantasy Origins looked interesting, and I like Life is Strange, so I'm excited for that. I'm glad that I got to see more involving the emotion realms. I don't know what else to call them, but I was disappointed with Babylon's Fall because it like I honestly I didn't have much expectation for it, and I was disappointed. Um, I was also disappointed that they didn't give more time to some of their Final Fantasy like pixel remaster stuff. They spent like 30 seconds on it, and I thought they should have spent
Yeah,
like more. And there just like was no care for that stuff. This felt more like we're not going to talk about any of our JRPG franchises. We're just going to focus on all the stuff that we do for. I'm just going to say it, the Western audience. Um, so I gave it a B because I guess it accomplished the fact that the Guardians game, I think for certain groups is going to be fun, but I think there were certain letdowns that I didn't like. So I think a B was satisfactory, but it needed more. But I also keep in mind I did put things in the context of other conferences. So this was better than all but two conferences for me. So I did also add in the context of that.
yeah. For me, it's a hard C, maybe even a C minus, just because of the disappointment factor. Guardians Guardians look good to me. Again, I
Mm.
may not play it, but it's a maybe. Final Fantasy Origin is interesting. I hope it's good, but they've got some work to do. And again, even though I haven't played Life is Strange, I think the Life is Strange stuff looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the disappointment factor kicked in. Fall was a game that I was, they've been kind of hyping up and teasing for a number of years now, and I was excited for. And they like like kind of like Ghost said in the chat, I don't know if I've ever had a trailer for a game like ruin my excitement
Oh
for it. I
no.
was just like,
Oh
this game I was
no.
interested in, I am no longer interested in this game. You have
Oh
just
my god.
it looked like crap. Like that game looked terrible.
Sure.
Okay,
And
terrible's maybe a little harsh, but it didn't look
well,
good. I
to
was like,
you
okay,
it didn't look good. So I mean, like, also just to put things in perspective, like if somebody gave this conference a D or a C, I would understand given what they're looking for. So like you giving it a C, yeah, I could see someone giving this a C. This was just like, as a side note, if you're a JRPG fan, God, this conference sucked. This was the
yeah, which
worst
is like
conference for you.
which is why I can see like Ghost and like even for me, like maybe I would give it a C minus because I was kind of expecting to see like FF16
Yeah,
or like some new like maybe Project Triangle, maybe some new JRPG that we don't know about that they're working on. And yeah, there was nothing for JRPGs in this conference, and Square Enix is a JRPG developer, or yeah, the new FF14 expansion. Let's
yeah,
talk
that's
about
right.
that. Square Enix, at least for a long time, was primarily a JRPG developer, and I know they're branching out, and that's fine, but their audience and their base is with the JRPG crowd. It's Final
Right.
Fantasy, it's Kingdom Hearts, and again, I know I was not expecting Kingdom Hearts. They said they weren't going to talk about Kingdom Hearts this year. I was not
Mm-hmm.
expecting Kingdom Hearts, but give me something on like they announced FF16 in like the fall or the summer last year.
They did,
You really had nothing to show us on FF16. I know it was in their like sizzle reel at the very end, but
but that's nothing. Like,
come on,
yeah,
like they just didn't hit what they needed to hit. They did other stuff, and people were like, "What?" And then
yeah,
obviously Babylon's Fall was a big letdown for a lot of people. So
yeah,
this is a C or maybe a C minus for me.
yeah,
It was a big letdown,
yeah.
you know.
I'm with. I gave it a B, but I'm with you. I
But
could see that.
again, I'm not gonna give it a D because I think the games that they showed, like Guardians, Life is Strange, and Final Fantasy Origin, look pretty solid.
Yeah,
Wasn't exactly what I was looking for from a Square Enix conference, but I can't give it a D because again, what they showed for the most part, with the exception of Babylon's Fall, looked pretty good.
sure,
So I can't give it a D just because of that. So I think C is fair. I think C minus might even be a little harsh because again, Guardians, Life is Strange, Final Fantasy Origin all look good to me. Um, so yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with what I said,
sure.
which is a C for that conference.
And again, that's 100% reasonable. I'm no debate for me. I do expect JRPGs at conferences like this from certain people, and I expect it from Square, and I expected it from Bandai Namco,
Bandai
and
Namco, yeah.
Bandai Namco, they fucked the duck hard. So let's go move forward into the PC gaming show. I'm gonna pick and choose mine, and then
Yeah.
you can pick and choose yours. So, uh, Chivalry 2 is already out, but Chivalry 2 I think is a cool game, and it's interesting. Like Chivalry 2 is interesting. It's Battlefront but medieval. Like I could see people being like, "Oh, that sounds fun." Um, Humankind. I know you'll talk about it, so I'll say it for you. But Humankind, they showed a little bit of that. Um, Jurassic World Evolution 2. Jurassic World was a pretty fun little game. I enjoyed it, and I'm happy that there's a sequel. It's a cool game. I liked it. And what else? I mean, we noticed Sacrifier, the Kickstarter
Mhm.
project, and I guess like Dying Light 2. There's quite a few people that are interested in that. Other than that, I didn't have too much interest in a lot of this other stuff. Um, the Solstice game. I don't know why I remember the Solstice game too. So why do I remember Solstice game? It was an RPG, right? There was something about Solstice that I remember. But yeah, this wasn't like, I didn't think this conference was that bad. It wasn't super interesting, but it was nice to see all these various different games, possibly from smaller studios, getting some time.
There was pretty good variety in
Yeah, there
this conference
was.
too, like in terms of genre. I mean, JRPG wasn't that represented. There was like one or two, but the variety was decent in this conference overall.
There were a lot of space games actually. Ghost is right. There were tons of space
Yeah, there
games.
was
We
a lot of
commented on
there was
that.
a lot of sci-fi,
A lot of sci-fi.
and
So,
post-apocalyptic.
Spoon, any games in particular catch your interest
Uh,
besides Humankind? I mean, Humankind's a given, but
Humankind we've talked about a lot already. The closed beta's out for those people who have played it. I haven't played it that much yet, actually, but I intend to at least get through it once, I
yeah,
think.
sure.
Um, the number, like from what I've seen of it, though, with the closed beta, they still have a lot of work to do on the balance. The numbers are still
Oh, they're
they're just
still
way
out.
off.
Oh,
They're
okay.
still just way off. Like
We'll
it's
see.
this. Yeah, I'm getting a little worried for the balance on release. To be
Yeah,
honest, I'm getting a little bit worried. Um, but we'll see. I agree with you. Chivalry 2, I've seen a little bit of that game played on Twitch. That game just looks like fun.
it
Like
just looks
it's like
fun. There's
silly
nothing to
fun.
say. You can throw
Like
cabbages at people and kill them with it. Like I don't know what else
yeah.
to say. It looks fun. It just looks fun.
Um Lemnis Gate was that like turn-based strategy FPS. I mean, it was an interesting concept. I didn't understand it. And
Yeah,
maybe it won't work, but it was a cool idea.
it
I don't know
it's
if
a
it'll be any
bold
good.
idea. I will say bold. Remember War Tales?
Yeah, War Tales, the generic medieval
Generic
strategy
name, generic
RPG.
medieval. Sorry, yep.
Um, uh, MechWarrior 5 hashtag ad.
Yeah, I mean, they. I mean, hey, you know what? They sponsored it. Give them their time.
Yeah, Sacrifier. I liked the art style of that.
Mm-hmm.
Songs of Conquest looked interesting. It was like a strategy RPG.
Sure.
Said it was
Yeah, that
I
was
never played
interesting.
I never played Heroes of Might and Magic, but I know there's a lot of people who like that game back in the day. Apparently, it's a spiritual successor to that.
That
So I
that
think
game did
people will
look
be
cool.
interested in that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Um, so yeah, there were a few things in this that were interesting. It was though, yeah, a lot of it for me was pretty boring, and I
Yeah,
wasn't
sure.
interested. And I like Day 9, and I like Mika Burton, like the host they had on it. But man, some of the skits were just like pretty cringe. Like it
Yeah.
was, and I
Wish
know
they'd
like
stop doing
again
them. Wish they'd stop doing them.
I know they were sponsored by MechWarrior 5, and they had to do the space stuff, and they had to do the ads and stuff. They need someone to pay for the show, but it was just kind of cringe. And
Yeah.
some of it, I was like, can we just
Well,
that was the thing about like the Xbox and Nintendo especially. Like they wasted no time. They were just
of
like
course not. Of course
game. Let's
not.
go. This show they probably wasted like 15 or 10 or 15
I,
minutes at least where they didn't
yeah.
need to be there.
I never get the skits with these kinds of shows. I'm just like, just get the person, talk about the game, move forward. We don't need a little skit of you flying in your mech and some robot or whatever being there. Like, just move on. Like, we're not
Yeah.
here to see your we're not here to see your mediocre to bad humor. We're here for the games. Focus.
Yeah. So this, PC gaming show was okay. Um very mediocre for me. There was a few things I was interested in, but nothing that wowed me, and there was a lot of boredom and cringe
Sure.
with the rest of it. So for this, I have it as a C minus.
Yep.
Maybe it's like the same as Ubi and Square at a C. No, I think it's slightly worse than Ubi and Square, so I'll go with a C minus. I'll stick with C minus.
Yeah, I'm at a C. This was while I didn't expect it to be a good show, and it wasn't, but I did see a couple things that I liked. So for me, I would give it a C, and it had some decent variety besides a bunch of space stuff. There were a lot of different games that got shown here, and it was nice to see certain games get the spotlight. So I yeah, I certainly didn't fall asleep, but yeah, at that point it was Nintendo and Bandai Namco waiting room for me, and one of those came through. The other did not.
Yeah.
Okay, future game show. Um, I'm just gonna go straight to my grade. D plus. I have
Yeah.
nothing to say. I know 2 Point Campus, like 2 Point Hospital, was kind of a nice little game, and I noticed that there was a Weeb reel. And other than that, I had I was burnt out from everything else, and this was a
Yeah,
game I could have taken a nap to.
this conference unfortunately was at the end of the day, and it was a long day. Like they had, it was Sunday, right? We had
Yeah,
Xbox in the morning, then we had Square Enix, then we had PC Gaming Show, and then we had this. So it was like, I don't know,
there were
4 to 5 to 6
yeah
hours of this, and yeah, I was fall I was falling asleep. I gave it a D minus because I think there were like a few things here that looked cool and okay. So I
yeah they
won't
showed
give.
games, so there you go.
I originally put it at an F, but I'll give it a D minus. I won't give it the total F bomb because there were a few games here that didn't look
Right.
terrible, but for the most part, I was Resident Sleepering all over
Yeah,
this.
sure.
Um,
It's understandable. Give it an R for Resident
R for
Sleeper.
Resident
Should have done
Sleeper.
that. Should have done that. We missed
Yeah,
out.
I mean,
Um,
so yeah, there was
I'm with
some
you.
stuff in this that was interesting. So I'm not gonna give it an F, but yeah, it was pretty boring
And
for the most part.
here's the thing. They showed games. And that's what this is about. You may not necessarily like all the games. They may not necessarily have been in your radar, but somebody out there saw a game that they liked. They did show some titles. It wasn't a disaster, okay? This was not a disaster. So I can't give this an F. There's only one that deserves the F. So this at least had some stuff in it.
Yeah, Laura Bailey and Troy Baker were like cute. I didn't. Some of their banter was kind of cringe for me as well, but generally I like them. They were whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't as cringy as the PC Gaming Show
It
skit that they did.
They
So
didn't
it
write their
was
banter, so we give them a
yeah.
pass.
No,
Somebody else wrote it.
I'm sure someone else
Yeah.
wrote the script. Yeah, this one for me is in the D range. I
Yeah,
don't care if
sure.
you give it a D minus, a D, or a D plus, but this is in the D range. Like
Sure.
there wasn't very much that was interesting. It was pretty Resident Sleeper. There's a few things here and there that like keep it from being an F, but
Yeah.
it was pretty boring. Or as Tri said, it's an R for Resident Sleeper.
Yeah, our for
'Cause
Resident Sleeper, I think that's fair too. Um I know you didn't I don't think you watched the Capcom one. I'll go ahead and
did not.
spearhead this. Highly forgettable D. There's nothing to say. I watched it and I wish I could have unwatched it. D. Um, they showed Monster Hunter, which they already had shown before. They showed Street Fighter, and they showed Resident Evil 8 stuff. And I was
Yep.
like, okay,
All games that are like already out or are coming out and we
yeah,
knew about. And it's like,
nothing.
okay,
It
no
was
surprises, nothing
they
new. Okay.
they showed stuff that some people might have liked, so I didn't give it an F, but it was not good. I was
Not
more
good.
interested in future games show than Capcom. So
Wow. Oh
I
yeah,
was more
that's right.
interested.
You had future games at a D plus and Capcom a D.
I was more interested in that, and that's saying something. Because Capcom's got some good stuff. There's some franchises that Capcom has under their belt that I wish to Christ they resurrect, but they won't because that they don't make cash. So anyway, it's time.
Anyway,
It's time for the granddaddy, the big one.
shall we just talk about Bandai Namco real quick and get the doo doo out of the way
Yeah,
before
it
we hit
sucked.
Nintendo?
Yeah, it sucked. It was terrible. They talked about a House of Horrors game for about 15 minutes, and the the quote of the day for Bandai Namco was when one of the hosts said, "Will players expect it to be tense?" And my immediate thought was, "You're an idiot. It's a horror game. If a horror game is not tense, it's not a
You
horror
did it
game.
wrong.
It's a walkthrough. It's a walking sim." That's the dumbest question you could have ever written, and I've become stupider because I've heard it. That is all I have to say about that. That was wow. They could have saved Elden Ring for that. They could have talked about Tales of Arise
and Scarlet
They could have talked about Scarlet Nexus, which is coming out, next
in a week and a half
Could have talked about that,
next Friday.
which would have been great. I would have really appreciated that. I wish they would have at least given it to Microsoft if they were going to talk about it. Um, this sucked. They also have a bunch of anime,
Anime license.
anime licenses that they could have talked about.
All the shonen, Dragon Ball, Naruto,
Yeah.
My Hero. One Piece
I'm wondering if
fairy tale.
Here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if the VP of marketing or sales, one of the guys that was focused on trying to promote the conference, decided to smoke a bunch of dope one day and say, how can I make the dumbest conference in the history of the world? And they landed on that.
So the thing is, like, so until the day of their conference, it was like, okay, Bandai Namco was at that time on Tuesday, whatever it was, 2/25, I think. But on the day of, the schedule had changed to Bandai Namco presents House of Horrors. I was like, oh, I guess they're not actually having a press conference. They're just doing this one thing. The problem is they like set expectations that they were actually going to have a press conference when they're only showing that one thing.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. They set expectations and then it was a letdown because they just showed something that nobody cared about.
And WB did the right thing, actually. WB specifically said this is a Back for Blood focused conference. It was WB Back for Blood. Perfect. Expectations are locked in place. We don't have to expect any Batman games or anything like that. Great. Good job. Bandai Namco. Here's what you should have titled it as. Bandai Namco presents Napping Simulator. We're going to show you how to take a nap. Get your pillows ready. Tuck yourselves in. It's sleepy time.
When Bandai Namco is going to have a conference, I expect JRPGs and anime license games.
That's
what I expect.
Hell yes. or a Souls game, for that matter.
Or a Souls like Elden Ring. Again, as Ghost and you said, they had trailers in the Summer Games Fest for Elden Ring, for Tales of Arise. I don't remember if they showed Scarlet Nexus in that, but they should have saved those for their conference and not put everyone to sleep. They could have put their House of Horrors thing if they wanted to show that, fine. But then give me my anime, give me my JRPGs. Let's go. That's what you're about.
I couldn't believe it. I was actually shocked. I was like, wow. Congrats! This is the worst. you somehow did it the worst. I was amazed. So
yeah,
it sucked.
Yeah, this is a hard F, obviously.
Oh yeah,
because they this was not a conference. This was just a.
It sucked.
It was nap time.
It was nap time. Really, it was nap time.
I didn't even watch it. Like I had it on in the background when I was in class at the time, and I had it on the background. I was like, the fuck is this?
The hell am I watching? What am I listening to? Again, when the host person said, will players expect tension? I was like, are you serious?
I'm sure hope so.
Are you serious? That's like asking somebody who made a Souls game, should players expect challenge? Like,
should the players expect to die in the game?
Should I have expected a stupid question? Like, wow. Like, what the hell is that? Oh my god, whoever she didn't write that question, but whoever wrote that for her. God, go take a writing class or something. I don't know. Like, figure out a better way to say that. Anything. Should players expect guns in this shooter game? No.
Not at all.
No. There'll be swords. What the hell?
Yeah. So yeah, I think now that we're done trashing on Bandai Namco's not conference, we can talk about Nintendo.
I thought I was going to be optimistic, but Bandai Namco, I can't. There's nothing optimistic about it. Okay, Nintendo. I think we both agree Nintendo did an excellent job by comparison to everybody else in particular.
Yeah, Nintendo was the best.
They were great,
in my opinion. I liked it better than Microsoft. As I said earlier.
They were great. I agree with you. They were great. I won't say they were the best, but I will say they were great. That is what I will say. The Smash Bros. Kazuya from Tekken being the next character coming out sometime after June, because Hakurai will present the new character at the end of this month.
Yeah, sometimes the character drops on the same day of the presentation.
Oh, cool.
So
okay.
Maybe it will be then, or maybe it'll be a few weeks after that. Who knows?
And then you said spending 5 minutes on Smash in a 40-minute direct doesn't bode well, and I do think that the 5 minutes was perfect. Smash is a big enough title for them where they need to dedicate time to it. That game needs to have content coming out on a consistent basis, and E3 is a great time to do that. So I thought it was good. Smash Bros. Ultimate, good
I
time.
think they spent a little too long. Like
Okay.
I didn't mind the trailer at the beginning, and then Sakurai coming on screen and talking about it a little bit. It say like, hey, the presentation is going to be in a couple of weeks on June whatever it was, 26th, 28th.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind that, but then they did like a mini demo of the character and showed all the moves. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you're gonna go over this in 2 weeks. Like, why are you showing this now? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So they like one or two of those minutes, I was like, that didn't need to be there. You could have
Sure.
cut that out, and that's fine.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. I'll jump on the bandwagon for that one. But overall, I thought it was fine. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah,
It's all cool.
it's Smash. Yeah, the part with
The
Kirby
Kirby
being
was
thrown
great.
off the cliff.
Kirby was
funny.
great. I love that.
That was good.
That was great.
That was really good.
Good stuff. Okay. A good example of character humor that I won't comment anymore on Guardians of the Galaxy for. The Life is Strange remaster in True Colors to Switch, Guardians of the Galaxy to Switch, which was a little surprising. Because like I don't know how Switch is going to handle those the graphics of that game, but we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll handle.
They just down res the shit out of everything on
Yeah.
Switch. Basically, like it looks grainy and terrible on the Switch, but it'll run.
It'll run.
Like
Worms Rumble. I have no comment.
I actually like really liked Worms back in the
too.
day. It's been a long time. Though the one thing I'll say about this game that I noticed, I didn't pay wasn't paying that much attention during this trailer, but there were some frame rate issues in this game. It was like laggy.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, DBZ Kakarot also being ported to Switch. I mean, yeah, I think that game was I don't know if well received is the appropriate term, but people there were a good number of people that played that.
Yeah, I think that game was like okay.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, but Astria Ascending, I don't remember any of it. I really don't.
This was like that hand painted side scroller RPG. That game looked dope actually. I think it looked cool. Let me look. Turn based like JRPG. I mean it's JRPG, so sign me up. But it looked. Yeah, I don't know why. It looked really nice. They didn't spend very long on it. It was maybe 30 seconds or something like that.
Oh yeah, this looks pretty. Okay, Okay, yeah, I just didn't remember. Yeah, it looks nice. Looks nice. Okay, I see that. Okay, that's the date, obviously. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, 20th anniversary. Cool. I've never played the games, but cool. I have nothing bad to say about that.
People like Monkey Ball. Yeah. They're bringing it back.
Yeah, cool. Mario Party Superstars. People were excited about this. I mean, Mario Party is a game where you can get super angry if you try and be competitive about it, or you could just let everything go and try and have as much fun as possible. But I guess
as long as you don't care about winning and the game fucking you over in Mario Party, because that's what happens, and you loot, like you can be 2 or 3 stars ahead and then like steal a star, chance time, lose all your stars, and then bonus stars, and you're in last. So lol. Yeah, that's Mario Party. That's the way it goes. You can play the best game of your life and
still lose. Yeah,
because the game decided to screw you over.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't get too serious about it, Mario Party's a good time with friends.
But a lot of people like it, and I mean, there are people that were excited about this. So
it feels like a bit of a cash in to me, because they're just bringing back old boards and old mini games. Mm-hmm. So they're just like remaking some of the stuff from the N64 games, which I'm sure people will be happy about. People like the N64 games, but it's like, okay, I get it. I see you, Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Nintendo does that. Nintendo does that.
Everybody does that.
Yeah. Metroid Dread actually was a wonderful little surprise for me. I liked it. I'm very interested in it, and I can't wait to try it. That Metroid side scrollers, it's been a while, and I'm very glad that they're bringing one back. It looks cool.
Actual new one. The last actual new one that wasn't a remake was Metroid Fusion, which is Advance.
Yeah.
So after that, there was Zero Mission, which was a remake of, I don't remember which one, but of one of them, I think.
Yeah.
They did a remake of one in this style on the Switch that was like a 3D like side.
Yeah.
I don't remember which is maybe a remake like Metroid 2 or something. I don't exactly remember. Other M existed, but it was a hybrid. It had some side scroller and some first person, so I don't think they quite qualify it. Also, people hated Other M, so Nintendo
Nintendo's like Other M.
pretend it didn't exist.
It's like Blizzard with Warcraft Reforged. Didn't exist. No, I'm excited. Metroid Dread looks wonderful. I'm really glad that is something that they're going to put time into and dedicate to making it like be something that can come back. So I'm happy. I'm really happy. That was a great little surprise for me from the Nintendo showcase. I love that. Just Dance, Cruisin' Blast, and then we talked about DBZ Kakarot. Mario Golf Super Rush, we've already seen, but they did add on. We'll have free updates and characters, which is awesome. That's great. Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin, demo coming June 25th. I have no feelings for this franchise, but lots of people enjoy it. So, if you're one of those people, I'm happy for you. WarioWare, thank the heavens that WarioWare is coming back.
It's coming back. I never really played WarioWare very much, but I know a lot of people
good.
like it.
Oh, they're wonderful. Stole my heart. It's great for someone like me who just enjoys the simple things in life. Shimigami Tensei 5 got quite a bit actually.
That was a pretty extensive.
It was extensive.
It was a couple of minutes. Like
yeah,
3 or 4 maybe.
There was some extensive stuff there. Danganronpa, which is a collection.
Yep, collection of 1, 2, and 3, plus a expanded version of the board game that exists in one of them. I think it's in the third game.
Right. Fatal Frame, Doom Eternal DLC stuff, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Mario Rabbids, Sparks of Hope. There again, talking about more stuff coming to the Switch or being ported to Switch. Good. All good stuff. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. What a shocker. Actually. What a shocker for me.
This was the biggest surprise and my highlight of the entire E3 was Advance Wars. I loved Advance Wars back in the day. When that trailer started and the thing popped up, the text that said like the Orange Star Army is under attack, I audibly said, "No way." And I rarely get that hyped over things when I see trailers, but I said out loud, like, "No way. They're fucking remaking Advance Wars."
Yeah, no.
I'm so hyped for this.
That was surprising. I think for a while you've been kind of like mentioning during some of these Advance Wars. Wonder if they're going to do Advance Wars again. And there you go. This is perfect for a number of reasons. One, fans of the series get to check out these. I think we're just going to call them remasters, and the people maybe new fans will come in, and the game might start to get completely rebooted, and you'll get new ones. So this is really great.
Yeah, I have a feeling they are testing the waters. Like, if this sells well, I think they will make a new game in this style if this sells well. The remake does.
Yeah.
So please go out and buy Advance Wars. Please give me another Advance Wars game.
It's 2 games in the same package here. So, okay. So I see the $60 price tag, and yeah, I can see how people would not be happy, but this is Nintendo. This is what they do.
Yeah, that their games cost $60 most of the time. But so to say that, okay, maybe it's not worth $60 because it's 2 like 20-year-old games basically.
Yeah.
But they have completely reworked at least the graphics. Like, it's not like they are just taking the GBA versions, putting them on Switch, and saying, "Hey, pay $60." No, they're completely remaking the game. Like, the animations are all new. They have new like art for all the characters.
Right.
I'm sure they're gonna remix. I don't know about remix, but at least like remake the music.
I imagine Remix will
And
be what they'll do.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna do well. I've seen at least one balance change to the game. I don't know how much they're gonna change the game in terms of the balance. The unit costs seem to all be the same from what we saw in the trailer, but they did change Eagle's power in Advance Wars 1. So in Eagle's power in Advance Wars allows him to basically move his units again when he has his power.
Okay.
So he gets 2 turns in a row basically, except his
Oh.
infantry, because then you could like insta capture an HQ, and that's not fair. Um, but he gets to move all his units again,
Okay.
which was really broken in Advance Wars 1 because everyone had the same like the meter was the same length for everyone. The meter like didn't matter. In Advance Wars 2 they changed it so like the more powerful your superpower was, the longer the meter, the longer it would take to build up basically. You had a longer meter if you had like a better superpower. Um, but they changed it so in Advance Wars 1 his power, instead of being lightning strike, which is what it was before, is lightning drive, whereas like he gets the move again, but his units take like a 50% strength bonus on the second move.
Okay.
So he can't just decimate you with
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. That
one
would be a little
power
bit
basically.
too much. A little too much.
So yeah, they may do some tweaks here and there with the balance. Um and they're remaking the games. As you can tell, just like Ghost, this game these games were huge parts of my childhood, especially Advance Wars 2. Advance Wars 2 is amazing. Um, yeah, go buy Advance Wars when this releases on December 3rd, please. I'm so excited, and I hope they make another one.
It was a comfy little surprise. That is what I'll say
Yeah,
for sure. Um,
you
Zelda
didn't
Game and
play
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
you didn't play Advance Wars
Nope.
back in the day, did
No,
you?
I didn't.
No,
But I'm happy to see
but
this. Really, like this
you've
is
heard me
cool.
talk about it,
Oh
and
yeah,
I know.
I know you guys have played it. Like I've seen you guys like talk about it,
Yeah,
and I've seen stuff for it. It looks
and
interesting.
our buddy Mike from college was a big Advance Wars
Yeah,
fan as well.
yeah, yeah. No, I think it's great. Like I said, I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible. So like, I think it's cool. Like I'm trying not to. I mean, we shit on Bandai Namco, but I'm trying not to shit on stuff right now because I think everybody, there's some good stuff here for everybody. Um, the Zelda Game and Watch, I'm not interested in it, but
I think
I'm
it's a
sure there's
good
people that are cool.
package. I think it's a good package for those who like the old school Zelda
Yeah,
games. I
sure,
know Blue's a big fan of like Zelda 2, and that game's like hard to get a hold of. So,
sure.
um,
So that's nice. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Let's give a disclaimer. Spoon and I have terrible opinions regarding Breath of the Wild. We apologize in advance if we trigger you.
we have contrary opinions regarding
Yes,
Breath of the Wild. We
we
don't
we
think it is
we
the
do not think it is God
masterpiece.
tier. We think it. I think it is a good game, but to say it is the next coming of the greatest thing in gaming history is, I think you're pushing your luck on that one. So Breath of the Wild had a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, and it's a battle royale game. We see Link flying in from the skies. It appears that we are going to see some really high octane action with him fighting against all sorts of other players. I'm really excited for it. That's what it is, right? Because he's flying in from the sky like the battle royales do. Is that what it's supposed to
I
be,
mean,
right?
sure.
Okay.
No, I mean they are. I think I
There's some
there
things to this. There are some things to
there's
this.
some things that I mean, other than they're remaking Skyward Sword, there's a reason they're remaking Skyward Sword right now.
Yes.
Like this looked a lot like that dropping in from the sky that they showed from Breath of the Wild. That looked exactly like Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
Like,
very very timely. Very timely. The environment that we saw, they looked like there were some floating land masses,
yeah,
and it looked pretty cool. I mean, Breath of the Wild's big thing was always for me about the exploration of the environments. I did think the exploration in Breath of the Wild was really good. So as long as they can keep to that, that looks cool. They showed off a couple what looked like new little powers that you get. So that's always nice to see. And they showed off, I guess, like a little sneak peek at the floating final boss dungeon.
Yeah,
I don't
Hyrule
know what else to
Castle.
say for that. The castle, yeah, sure, castle. That's a better way to put it, castle. So, um, obviously, I imagine people went crazy for it, and I was very on the middle ground. I thought it was, I thought there was a couple things, but I was not particularly like, oh wow, mm,
Yeah,
eh, I'm sorry. I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. But all the fans of Breath of the Wild, I'm sure you're excited, and I'm happy that you were very excited for that. But I thought it was a very middle of the road type of trailer, but it did what it had to do. So
yeah. I was expecting a little bit more. To be honest, I thought they were just gonna spend a little more time on Breath of the Wild. Obviously, it's still not quite ready to be fully
yeah,
shown
sure,
yet.
sure,
What they showed was cool though. I like the idea of like using the skies above Hyrule and having these islands. I think it's cool. Again,
hmm
I'm not the biggest Breath of the Wild fan either. I hope they fix some of the issues I had with Breath of the Wild, but they probably won't because most people didn't have those issues with Breath of the
yeah.
Wild.
No, that's
So
true. That's true.
I'm not really expecting that, but I hope they do. Um,
We'll see.
yeah, I mean it looks cool. It looks like more Breath of the Wild. So
Yeah,
sure most people are going to be really happy with that. The one thing that I hope they do in this game, which was I think one of the biggest complaints that most people had with Breath of the Wild, is they hope they have actual frickin' dungeons in this one.
that'd be
Like
nice.
the main dungeons are much better than they were in the first game because the dungeons in Breath of the Wild were garbage. Like the shrines were cool. I like the shrines, but the four main dungeons that existed were very disappointing as far as what
Sure,
I expect from a Zelda dungeon.
sure.
So
Uh, Again, I think the trailer accomplished what it had to. It just needed to give a nice little nugget for people to be interested in. There are some pieces that definitely would pique someone's interest. I thought it was a good trailer for fans, but for me, it was very. I just like okay,
yeah,
nice, sounds good. Can you show me a better boss though? Show me a boss fight. I'm very intrigued by that. Show
show
me a
me a
boss
better
fight.
boss fight and a better dungeon than the first game had.
Yeah, that's all I really want to see. Um, so that was Nintendo. We just went through all of Nintendo. Um, so you gave it an A minus, and I gave it an A. I
Yeah, I
gave
had
it an
it
A
a
with.
I had it at a sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I have it as the same as Xbox for grade.
I had it at a B plus initially, and then I bumped it up to an A minus. Um,
hmm
I'm still kind of wavering on that.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
Fire Emblem was interesting.
So yeah, the reason I had it a B plus originally is because there was I wanted to see either Fire Emblem or Xenoblade, and I didn't see that in this conference, so that left me slightly disappointed.
hmm
Um, which is why I had it B plus initially. But then I thought about it and I was like, but the surprise, like Advance Wars was just such a high point, huge surprise for me
Yeah,
that that mostly made up for it. And Metroid Dread looks dope to me
it
as
looks
well. That was
cool.
also a really cool surprise, like a new 2D Metroid. There was a lot of good stuff in this conference. There was there were a couple of like reels they did that I was kind of okay, whatever, Resident Sleeper on, but for the most part, I was engaged in this conference. I thought they spent a little too much time on Smash, um, but lot of good announcement. Like even some of the smaller things like Astria Ascending, which we talked about the side scroller turn-based JRPG, Super Monkey Ball. I know a lot of people like the new Mario Party, like remaking old maps for Mario
Right.
Party. Metroid Dread was an awesome surprise and looks amazing. Um, Mario Golf, I'm excited for. We knew about it already, but whatever. New WarioWare game again. I'm not like a big WarioWare fan, but I know a lot of people love those games, and maybe
They're
I'll check
fun.
this one out. It looks cool and cute. The SMT5 trailer was dope. The game looks really good. I'm excited for that game. I like the graphics. Obviously, it's kind of the Switch is very limited
I
in
was
its
just about to
capacity,
say the Switch is
so
limiting. It's very
but
limiting.
I think they're doing what the best they can with what the Switch has to offer.
Yeah,
I
I
like the
agree.
way the characters look. I like the way the menus look. The game looks cool. I'm excited for that game. And then Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp is the highlight of this conference and the entire E3 for me. So
Sure.
for me, Nintendo, despite not having Fire Emblem or Xenoblade, that would have bumped this conference up to a hard A or even an A plus for me. Um, this conference was the best by me. This is the only one to me that deserved an A. There were a bunch of games here that I'm interested in. I am
Sure.
definitely going to play a lot of the games that I talked about there. Again, what I talked about before with Xbox, they had a bunch of cool stuff, but like, am I interested? Am I definitely going to play a lot of it? Probably not. So, Nintendo was the only one for me that gets an A range
Sure.
for the C3.
So I'll just say I'm fairly certain this is how the grades are going. Spoon's grading these more based on his actual perception of the event, based on his interest. I'm just giving the grades based on how I felt about people receiving it. So I think it's a slightly different grading. So my A is probably different than his A, just to give some perspective on that, in the way that we're looking at it. I thought this was great too. I thought it was an A. I thought Microsoft and Nintendo did the right things. Nintendo sold people on the next year to 2 years of their games. They had a lot of, or not a lot, they had a couple surprises that were great. Metroid Dread was really cool to see. I'm very happy that we're getting a side scroller from the Metroid from the Metroid series. That's awesome.
And they said they're working on Prime 4, but
Yeah,
they're not ready to talk about
yeah,
it yet.
yeah. It is what it is. I mean, they just had to show anything for Breath of the Wild 2, and people would have been excited. So
They needed to show the game. Like, we need to
yeah,
see the game. If it would have been another
sure.
like teaser or a nothing burger, I think people would have been upset. But they showed some of the game.
I
So
doubt it. I seriously doubt it. They could have showed almost anything. They could have just showed Zelda staring into the environment, and people would have loved it. Um, I think Advance Wars was cool. I will say, regarding Shin Megami Tensei 5, I think I'm a little too critical with graphics. Graphically, it's unfortunate that it's on the Switch. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
Um,
that's the case for anything. I
it,
mean,
I I've said it for almost every Switch game. I'm not going to change my mind now. Um, I thought everything here was great. I have, you know, obviously, other than saying the Switch is very limiting in its graphical fidelity, everything looks great here. If you're several different groups of fans should be excited. So it was a great
now
conference.
with the Advance Wars remake, now I'm just gonna pray that they remake Golden Sun as well.
Oh no! They tried it and it's nope. They tried that and it failed.
No, they didn't. They made a shitty sequel on the DS that nobody liked
Exactly.
because it was a bad game.
They tried it and they're done. They're like, yeah, we're done. Okay, we tried. We're done. It wasn't good because we didn't make a good game. So I doubt we'll see that. I really do.
I doubt too, but I can hope. I can hope.
Stuck in sports purgatory. Yeah, that's it. That's
I
where you go when you're not allowed to do things anymore. It's like put them in the sports section.
Yep. They make all the Mario sports games now.
Make
Camelot.
the sports games. Which, to be fair, the Mario sports
They're
games are
good.
fun.
They're good.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I won't say that Nintendo as a whole just like fundamentally had a better conference than Microsoft, because they both accomplished the objectives that they set out to accomplish. So, and they accomplished them well. So that's I think they were almost they're equivalent as far as the ability to accomplish those goals, but they're different audiences. So I can't really say, oh well, Nintendo did better over here because I like their games better. Microsoft didn't do well because I don't like their games. For me, I don't think that's particularly fair in this case. Because then I would have given Square like a D. I would have been like, okay, I'm not interested in any of this. This is boring. D. So I think, I mean, this was great. I thought these were good conferences at E3. Microsoft's and Nintendo's were great, and everybody else was either middle of the road or poor
Or below
or
average,
poor.
or bad.
So yeah, I think we've run down All the different conferences that we care to discuss. There were like a couple others, by the way, that we didn't talk about. There was like an Intellivision one where they talked about their new
Yeah,
console, which is like a
there was
family console.
there was a bunch of stuff on Monday that nobody paid any attention
Yeah,
to.
no one really cared. There was like a Verizon conference where they just like talked about them investing in like diversity in the gaming space, which is great. But I mean, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, there was some other stuff that we just didn't talk about because either they didn't really have any games or they just wasn't on our radar. So,
Well,
I think yeah, that was E3, and there's some. I do think there's some cool stuff coming up. I think people saying E3 was a disappointment. I can see that, but I there is some optimism, at least from me, in the stuff coming out in the next year and a
yeah,
half.
what I know is I'm gonna be playing mostly. Well, I guess somewhat because that's really all I'm gonna have access to. But I feel like I'm gonna be playing mostly Switch games in the fall.
Yeah, and that's it's fair. I mean, it's like you're gonna only really be able to play that, so that's kind of
I
fair.
have like PC as well, but anything console I wouldn't be able to play.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
the only other thing I can think of like that's not Switch that I'm gonna be playing in the fall is Tales of Arise, obviously. But like everything else is Switch.
Right. Okay. So now that we've completed our E3 section
And
of this,
I wanna ask what's okay. Let's just do this real quick.
yeah, sure.
What's your biggest highlight and your biggest like letdown or
Got
worst
it.
thing for the show?
It's weird. My biggest highlight has nothing to do with my particular games that I play. The biggest highlight for me was seeing Sea of Thieves get a Disney partnership. And the reason why is because I thought that game was going to fail. And when it came out, I made all the jokes. Ha 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 ha.
It wasn't good when it came
It
out.
wasn't good when
Apparently,
it
I
came
never played
out.
it.
Right. And we made all the jokes. And I'm excited and happy because Rare stuck with it. They made the right changes, and that has a thriving community now. So I'm
Yeah,
actually excited. I thought that was great. Really, it's weird because it's a game I'm not necessarily playing, but
they
I thought it
salvaged
was
it. They salvaged
unbelievable.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
It was definitely No Man's Sky
is it
situation where like it came out, it wasn't that good, but they made the right
right?
changes. The game's good now.
Because like we shit on games like Marvel's Avengers and things like that, and it's deservedly so in cases. But like if we shit on a game like Sea of Thieves, shouldn't we also be praising it for successfully coming back and now having success? So that was the highlight for me, is
And it's
seeing
hard
that
to
game.
come back too. A
Yeah,
lot of these games that have a bad first impression, people just like, all right, that's crap, and they don't
yeah.
come back. But
That,
you know,
that was my highlight. Obviously, Halo Infinite is a highlight for me. I can't. I'm a huge Halo fanboy. That's like my middle high school was Halo, and I still want a day where I can go back to Halo and feel like I'm back in the good old days. So those are my highlights. Obviously, like there was a lot of great stuff from this. My biggest disappointment, I'm gonna go ahead and discount Bandai Namco because I think that's just an easy alley oop.
yeah,
But
that's slam dunk.
that's
That's
too
slam
easy.
dunk
It's
right
too easy.
there.
I think it's too easy. I think it's too easy. It's a joke. I'm gonna say my biggest disappointment was just generally speaking. I think Square as a whole was a huge disappointment for me because I think they pushed the wrong audience here at E3. I think they're pushing this Marvel fans audience because it's. I hate to say this because I don't think it's the correct way to put it. But I think they're pushing it because they think it's gonna make them more money.
Yeah, there's like it's a bigger fan base
Yeah,
than the JRPG fan base
and I'm
is.
disappointed that they're doing that because the heart and soul of their core games is there in the JRPG section, and they're very good at
Yeah,
it. We know they're good at it.
they've existed for like 25 years on mostly
On that,
JRPGs.
and
So
so like they get the Marvel IP, and now they're like, oh well, we're gonna strut around with all the Marvel games, and I'm like,
well,
I get it, but at the
yeah,
same time, your core is over here. Talk about your core first.
yeah.
Don't focus a half of your presentation on freaking Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't even know about first, but like they just can't ignore it. Like they literally didn't talk about almost a single JRPG in there. Like there was the
Exactly.
pixel art thing, and there were a couple like remakes. They didn't. There was nothing. It's like,
Right.
okay, if you want to talk about Marvel, you want to talk about Life is Strange, you want to talk about all these other things you're doing. There's they just didn't.
They didn't do
Yeah,
it.
they didn't cater to their base at all.
Which
I mean, I guess
yeah,
they had Final Fantasy Origin, but that's not.
it's not a
It's like a
JRPG though.
Dark Souls
Yeah.
game. It's not like a JRPG, and it's also not coming out until probably the end of next year. So
Yeah.
there's just nothing from them in the JRPG front this year.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
And
Literally nothing.
and I'm not necessarily a big JRPG fan too. Like there's some games that I like, but at the same time, like it's disappointing when the JRPG publishers aren't showing their JRPGs because that's where their core audiences are coming from. So I was disappointed in that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was like as disappointed in, and Bandai Namco being the slam dunk. I don't think there's anything else. I'm just like I was completely shocked. Oh, I want to add one more exciting thing. I'll add the third. The Microsoft fridge. Wonderful. Microsoft, say what you want about them and their non-exclusives. Like I hesitate to say this stuff because like a Sony fanboy's gonna come in, yeah, but yeah, you got your exclusives, good for you, go away. Um, but Microsoft has like easily one of the best attitudes in the community regarding when they get feedback. I feel like Nintendo and Sony just turtle up, but Microsoft embraces the memes like nobody
Yep.
else. So besides
And they,
Obsidian,
and when Microsoft does something bad and they get backlash, they usually backpedal and like, all right, we get it, you didn't like it, we won't do that anymore.
or they
Like,
meme it. Like they're like everybody was
or they just meme it.
making fun of the console. They're like, oh, it looks like a fridge, and then they made a fridge. Like, what are you supposed to say after that? It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
fuck. Like, they do the
Yeah.
right stuff. That's all I have
And
to say.
I guess the one thing we didn't talk about with Nintendo, because like their show was good, but before the stream happened for their show, apparently they were telling people, the streamers, that they weren't allowed to co-stream their presentation.
Which one?
Like
Sorry, which one?
Nintendo.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Nintendo like made a tweet earlier in the day and we're telling people like, hey, don't co-stream the direct. We are not allowing it. We don't want you to do it. Like
it,
like Nintendo is simultaneously the best and the worst game company. Like I hate them so much.
But before I throw the ball into your court, I just want to say something. Like it just pisses me off. Like Sony and Nintendo piss me off sometimes. They do such they make great games and they have their first party titles are like really unbelievable.
Yeah,
but they just piss me off because they have terrible attitudes.
They think they can get away with literally anything because they make great games. And for the most part they can, because people can keep buying their games no matter what.
Yeah, and it pisses me off too, just because like we got one company that we like. This is kind of what we want, is like a fun meme company that like listens.
They're being very pro consumer right now. Right. Like with Game Pass is just like an amazing deal basically, and
it's just like these other guys that everybody freaking worships are actually just assholes. It makes me angry. It does. I hate it because I'm like,
I agree. I hate it too.
Don't we want people to be like this? Why are you worshiping these other assholes? So okay, balls in your court. I think I can guess your excitement.
My hype is, I told you my big one was Advance Wars for sure. That was my biggest Metro. Basically, it's all from Nintendo. Metroid Dread, Advance Wars.
SMT.
Yeah, SMT5 was pretty cool too, but I wasn't like super hype about it because I mean I already knew about it. It wasn't a surprise, so it was like okay,
sure.
That was coming out, and that release date was leaked. I think it was off by one day, but it was like November 12th, and the leak was November 11th or something like that. So okay, whatever.
Yeah. Disappointment.
Disappointment is definitely, I'm with you, like on Square in general, but specifically Babylon's Fall. Again, like that game, I was like, it's a platinum game, it's gonna be good, published by Square Enix, it's gonna be cool, and then we saw their trailer and their demo for it, and I was like, nope, this looks bad. Like I don't like it.
I don't like you.
I don't like the art style. It's blurry and live service. I was like, okay. At first, the trailer's going like, hey, I don't like the art style. It looks blurry, like in motion and in combat. I was like, okay, but maybe the combat will be good. It can be salvaged. and then they said live service at the end of the trailer. I'm like, nope, I'm out. That's it.
That's
Like,
it. See ya.
I'm
Bye.
out.
Bye.
They've got a lot of work to do if they want to win me back on Babylon's Fall. I don't think they will, but
I, I
they're
I didn't hear a lot of good things after their showing, so I think feelings are mutual from others. I want to add one more to my exciting games, kind of a small one. The Koromon game is kind of nice. It was a nice little gem that snuck in and piqued my interest. Blue, I think, was the one that passed that along. Thank you, by the way. That was a good little gem for those of you that you got your big exciting titles, but some small little indie games slide under on the radar sometimes, and that was a good one.
yeah. Speaking of little gems, again, I haven't played it yet, but I've seen a little bit. There was another little gem dropped on Steam.
Hmm.
Another indie. It's called Dark Deity, and it is in the vein of Fire Emblem. Basically, it's like a Fire Emblem style game. It's an indie. It's $25, discounted 20% to 20
Let's.
right now.
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now. Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting. How much is it? 20. Okay.
20 25 discounted
Sure.
to
Okay.
20
I'm
right now.
I'm taking a look at it. I will save that.
So yeah, that's another one that like kind of got dropped near the end of E3. They're like, okay, it's out. Have fun.
It's
Like,
out. Go play it. Again,
yeah,
like this is
yeah, classic Fire Emblem, GBA era Fire Emblem with like the classes and
yeah.
the linear chapter progression and stuff like that.
This
So
this is the other thing about E3 that I think people like. Oh, what a disappointment. Blah blah. There are some gems that you're gonna miss out on if you're too
yeah,
focused on the big
you're gonna have
big
to
heavy
dig.
hitters.
You have to dig. You gotta dig for
You
them
gotta dig,
sometimes.
and like this is another little gem that this stuff with E3. Yeah, E3 from the big groups is probably a disappointment. But like every once in a while, you get a Koromon and a dark deity that slides under the radar, and you're like, wow, thank God I watched that E3 to know that that existed. So that's why I want to be really optimistic about it because there's some cool stuff that you just miss out on.
Yeah, I don't think it was as terrible as like the internet would make you believe that it was. It
Hmm.
definitely wasn't this like super hype amazing E3, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think like the heyday of E3 is
I
over.
think so too. I
Like
agree with you. I think at some
companies
point, yeah,
would rather do their own events at a time more convenient to them when they actually have stuff to show than being forced into like having everything ready for this one big event in the middle of the summer. It's like it's just not
yeah,
how it works anymore. Like,
that
and there are
trade
plenty of
show, yeah.
other events like PAX and
Hmm.
GDC, and there's so many other events like over the summer and stuff where people would do, or again like we did with the pandemic, all the companies just did their own virtual things like that. It costs way less money to just do like a Nintendo Direct type thing than actually show up at a conference and have all this extra like shit and like demo booths and
Yeah,
all this stuff like
I,
so.
the trade show format for these guys probably isn't their best bet anymore
Yeah,
because of how technology has progressed. I think it did make sense 20 years ago, right? But
no, sure, of
now
course,
it's
but
just like, why now? You don't have
yeah,
to anymore. You can throw you don't need people to actually physically be at your location because the internet exists to throw a demo out there, assuming it's not corrupted. Um, I don't know. I think at some point people are going to start moving away from E3, and you're going to get more like Ubisoft
yeah.
Forwards, Nintendo Directs,
I mean, there's
whatever
already
else.
been a couple of companies that moved away from it. Sony, Sony used to be really
Yeah,
big at E3, and they're out of it.
yeah,
EA and Activision. Well, yeah, EA wasn't really there. There was like a few here and there, like shows,
yeah.
but EA wasn't really there. And
Activision has
Activision,
their own stuff.
yeah, I guess like they showed Diablo, but that was it.
That was it. Yep.
Um,
So yeah, I mean, we'll probably see less of E3 in the
yeah,
future,
I
particularly
think it'll
because of
still
cost.
exist for a while, but I don't think you can expect these like mind-blowing huge announcements
Sure.
all over the place at E3 anymore. Again, I think the heyday of E3 is long gone.
I'm with you. I agree. Agree with you 100%. So yeah, no, I mean, like, there's some cool stuff. I'm definitely checking out this Dark Deity though. That looks pretty nice. Again, good gems out there. Koromon also. If you're a Pokemon fan, you want to check it out. There's a free demo, and it's up to level 25. for your little Koromon. So good art style too, and good music. Um, any other final thoughts before we start closing things down so I can get to class?
Nope, I
Okay.
am good.
All right. Then let's conclude here and let's just do some quick remarks. Reminder, if you are interested in games like Koromon or some of our other YouTube content that we've put out recently, go check out the YouTube. There's probably a command for exclamation point YouTube in the chat for those of you that are curious and want to check out some of the stuff that we've put up there. There'll be more when Scarlet Nexus comes out next week. That's one thing we're really excited about. And expect us to be playing that a good amount next weekend.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the schedule, but Otto and I are planning to split the game. Basically, we're
Yeah,
each going to do one of the stories and
correct.
stream it. Yeah, stream it and then put the videos on YouTube,
Correct.
obviously. So
Yep. And then additionally, besides, the Scarlet Nexus stuff, just a comment regarding the previous giveaway that we had. A lot of the answers to the questions that we provided, we're going to regroup about and talk and discuss. They were I really appreciate the people that did give their answers for those questions, like what kind of content you watch, what games are you looking forward to, and I'm sure we'll do another one of those giveaways in the next bit of time because of post E3, and we'll do something similar to say, okay, like what games are you looking forward to now that E3 has been completed. So we'll regroup and figure all that out. If you're watching the World Ends with You anime, we'll do that this weekend. Spoon will help coordinate the time for that because Sunday is Father's Day this weekend. And don't
yep,
forget Twitter. Check out the Twitter, please follow. And if you're not following the Twitch, we'd appreciate that.
yep.
Twitch.tv/OverLimit podcast. So, Spoon, any final comments?
Don't forget next week, due to I have an exam on Thursday morning, so we will not have podcast on Wednesday. Instead, we will do it on Thursday next week, same
Yes.
time.
We're gonna try, I think, and shoot for the roughly the same time we would have it on Wednesdays, if possible. If
Yep.
not, we will update. That will happen either it'll happen in probably all the places that we normally would give updates. So Twitter, Discord, things like that. So check, be sure to keep up on that. And that'll probably happen as well for the following week because I have an exam on Wednesday the
Yep.
following week as well.
Yep,
So
that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen the following week. So
yep,
next 2 weeks, podcast will be on Thursday instead of Wednesday, and then we will go back to the normal
yep,
schedule for a while. And then I know you have some conflicts in the fall, but we'll get there.
yeah. We'll discuss my fall schedule because podcast will be changing in the fall due to me having being forced to take a class in San Francisco due to classroom size requirements. So I will be spending my Wednesdays in San Francisco as opposed to where I am currently at in the South Bay. So, um, thanks everybody for hanging out and watching, and hopefully you guys have some more things you're excited about post E3, and we'll do another giveaway at some point in the next, I don't know, when specifically, but the next couple weeks. The again, I just want to say congrats to the person that won our first giveaway, which was Asher. So we
Yep.
will see you guys next Thursday, and if we end up streaming Scarlet Nexus next week on the podcast channel or on one of our personal channels, that'll get posted through the Discord and the Twitter. So be sure to keep a lookout for that next week. So thanks everybody. Have a
Yep.
good rest of your day or night. And we'll see you guys next time.
Night, everybody.